Welcome everyone on today's Metal3 Community meeting. Today is the 26th of February 2025 and my name is Adam Rosman. I will be your host today. Let me quickly check the participants. We don't have new participants. We can skip the introductions and go with the reminders. So please note that the meeting is recorded. If someone would like to help the project, you can do it by filtering project level with the GitHub issue filter for good first issue and help wanted labels, and contributing to those would help us greatly. If you feel that your organization is willing to officially disclose that you are an adopter of the MetaQ project, then you can do that by pushing a pull request and modifying the adopters.md file in the root of the community repository within the MetaQ bio project. And that would also help us a lot. And we are really looking forward active adopters who are willing to share their experiences and get in touch with us. If you noticed that there are failing tests on your pull request and you think that the failures are not related to your change, then please create an issue in the relevant repository and link that issue to the MetaQ CI tracker project on the issues form. And related to incubation, there was no big news, but we are still in touch with our reviewer, and he will continue the process. He just pinged us back after we provided the contact details of Mirantis, who recently disclosed that they are using MetaCube and willing to participate in the interview process. Okay, and if you are interested about any other statistics or deliverables or any other info about the project, just please follow the links here below. And then let's go with the community working groups. And the first one is the ironic scalability working group.
I do not really have anything. Just still working on online data migration, which is required if we have separate MariaDB if we're going to upgrade actual Ironic with the same running database. But nothing beyond that. And then you release, but well, we're going to talk about this.
Thanks. I also created this I think last week. This on working group. I mean, I would just wanted to highlight that there is an increasing interest in the community. It's not really coming from my side or the area I'm working from, but I see it purely in the open source community. So I would like to make a place for it, and we also just, I think, touched upon that on the MTM or in some Slack thread. I don't remember, but there is an interest, and we do have some CI workers, some GitHub workers that can run tests on ARM. So yeah, I'm looking for volunteers who are willing to organize themselves and start working and contributing for ARM support for the whole stack. Yep, and then we can continue with the release team / roadmap. And yep, I just mentioned here that the Ironic Image 28 was released, and I'd like to thank Ricardo and Dimitri and everyone else who were handling that release. And I guess I have to give the words or I don't know how you say that to you guys to talk about this. Or about IRSO or if you have something related to, because I see that someone commented the IRSO 0.2 release also. So
Yep,
is
that
there?
was me.
Yep.
Basically, a pretty minor release, to be honest. The biggest thing is support for Ironic 28. So every time we release Ironic image, we're going to release Ironic standalone operator, I guess. At least that's the way it is right now, because we need to add support for the new version. So if this was this routine version, it's otherwise the release cycle was mostly about CI improvements, of which there have been a lot.
Okay. Thanks. It's nice to see that this is improving. I guess then there are no other particularly interesting thing to mention. I guess so. I think we can continue with the other one that was commented by Tuomo.
Yeah, I have nothing to do with it per se, but just been reviewing the release notes, and they're pretty much ready to go out as soon as the release note is finalized.
Yeah, I reviewed stuff related to this. I think Pepe is in charge of pushing these patches. Yeah, maybe one thing that we can mention a bit later, just in the discussion topics related to this, but yeah, and nothing special comment for this. No special comment for this. Is there anyone who has anything else to add to release team or roadmap or to the ARM working group or anything that we have talked about so far before we continue with the discussion topics? Okay, if not, then I see that, Ricardo, you have brought over from last week this discussion. Last week we had only 3 of us present, so we could not really discuss this in depth, but it's a very important topic.
Yes, thank you. So this is continuing from, well, we started last week, but actually this is a recurring topic since a while now, since CentOS Stream 10 is officially out, and the OpenStack community has decided to adopt it in the CI starting from the next cycle, which is going to open in March, so in like 4 weeks, I think 4 or 5 weeks. So that we actually started already working on, so that there's, I mean, work already started for the CI nodes, but also I started working with to migrate to support CentOS Stream 10 in IPA Builder, but this depends also on other changes in this image builder, which are still a work in progress. So we'll probably see something again at the beginning of the next cycle. So this connected to the fact that Python 3.9 is going EOL in October this year. And again, the OpenStack community decided to remove support for Python 3.9. Python 3.9, not Python 3.10. Is Python 3.9 starting from the next development cycle. I kind of see like probably the need to speed up a little bit the support for CentOS Stream 10 in Metal3, although we may have a different solution which I added there. So the first thing I was wondering if it could be possible to have 2 build jobs for the Ironic image and for any other image that uses CS9, so having both CS9 and CS10 to verify that they both build, at least until we switch completely to CentOS Stream 10 in OpenStack, so in Ironic. And of course, as soon as we have the support for CentOS Stream 10 in the Ironic image, but that is easy. It's basically done already. And this, like the second thing was actually from Adam proposing to have latest PMO release periodic test with 2 Ironic flavors, which I think it would be ideal to see that like both images work fine. Now, the third point, which is the one that I added today, is that we may have the opportunity to run Python 3.12 on CentOS Stream 9, which kind of like it will prolong CS9 life because the main issue is that in CS9 Python 3.9 is the main Python binary, and of course if it's going to be EOL. And if the OpenStack community is going to not support it anymore from the next cycle, it's going to be a huge problem. I believe in the Ironic community, we're going to discuss maybe keeping the support until the end of the next cycle, or so like prolong the life of Python 3.9 tests until the end of the next cycle, but it's not sure yet. That's all. Any questions? Anything?
Yeah, so I from my side, nothing new compared to last week. Just kind of summarizing how I see it from CI perspective. Maybe it gives a kind of different angle to the story. So I think building like the container based on two different base images, it does not sound to me as very complicated, as we have a quite flexible way of tagging and building images. But correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. So that's not a blocker, or not a substantially big work in my opinion. The other one, this periodics, the reason was that in my opinion that's the easiest to introduce in this BMO periodics, because that's the smallest stack that we can test. So then we don't need to involve the CAPM3 and others, only BMO, and then doing it as a periodic, so we don't really have to mess around with the PRs and changing our test requirements. So this can run in the background, because this, like the big picture as I understand, is just to make sure that the CS9 works until it gets phased out. So it is something that would be relatively shortly phased out anyhow, and it's easier to just have that in the background. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No, just reply, and I'll ask my question then.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, the main work here is actually in the ironic image, because if we have parallel jobs, of course it's not a matter of migrating the ironic image to CS10, but having that work in parallel with both CS9 and CS10 at the same time. So it's probably like requires some more work, but it's okay. Again, it's already at a good point from my side, so should not be a problem.
Okay. You mentioned that the disk image builder is not ready for the CS10. Did I understand correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. It's still work in progress, and of course until so the disk image builder is mainly I mentioned that because of course that is required for the IPA builder to work, since it relies on disk image builder. But there's also a requirement for the CS10 nodes in the OpenStack CI infrastructure. So it's like until the disk is done, we won't see any support there.
Yeah. So this also then means that we in Metal3 we are not able to build CS10 CI or node images as well, right?
Yeah, but my main concern right now is for the ironic code.
Yeah, of course. But you have been asking about this or did you prioritize the Ubuntu 24 earlier? But anyway, we need those images as well down the line. But it's good to know that we cannot make them yet. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, for CS10, no, definitely not. But the Ubuntu CI part, at least on the MetalCube side, is I think we should like push a little bit there.
Yeah, that we should absolutely do. There's no blockers for that.
All right.
It's just nobody has time, apparently.
Yeah, well, I understand.
Yeah, but thanks.
Sure. Anything else? Okay, so I will probably have the change to be able to run Ironic Image in parallel with both CS9 and CS10 in the next weeks, and then we can discuss also about the periodic tests after that is ready. Thanks.
Yep. Thanks. Is there any other comments or questions? Okay, if not, then we have another topic with Tuomo. I can start it from KeepAlive perspective. So there has been two different discussions touching the KeepAlive. One was the read-only Ironic image execution mode, so making the Ironic pod or the Ironic deployment itself compatible with the Kubernetes read-only port policy, which I'm working on. A small part of that touches the KeepAlive and requires relatively minor changes. And then another thing that we agreed that we will move the KeepAlive out from BMO. It has no place. There was a community consensus on this. And because of that, there is now PR that both modifies and moves it. Of course, we already discussed with Tuomo that it would be nice to modify it first, then move it. That's fine. I can still leave that PR there. This will be the move PR. I probably will push another one to just modify it in place, like modify the KeepAlive script to make it compatible with this read-only mode. It's not a big. It's really a tiny change. So that's not an issue. But while we were discussing this during the review, it came up that actually now that it will live in the utility images, we don't really have a consensus on a release process, because based on that release process, we have to design the release documentation and the release automation. This is something that was not released before. So and one thing, at least from my side, that I would prefer this to, and I think that was the result of our discussion, but I would also prefer this to be independent from Ironic releases. So we would just release this whenever we really need to release this KeepAlive, which will be most likely done less regularly than an Ironic image, because we rarely modify this image content. So I don't know how should we approach this, or what are the opinions about this. One big question here is that where should we start the numbering? Because it was already pushed with the Ironic numbers, if I remember, or the BMO numbers. I don't not remember exactly if it was BMO version number or Ironic version number used for this. I think BMO, but then we have to start it somewhere.
Yep. So the version numbering is one thing, and the second is that we kind of need to agree that if we make it lightweight release process, so just release off the main, always not actually hosting any release branches. I think we have made very few changes in past 2 years, for example, so there's no point of host or having the release branches for this really. And then of course then we have had this even longer standing issue with the MariaDB, which is basically similar utility image that currently it just gets stacked with this weird CAPM3 version numbering, although it has basically zero relation to CAPM3. So we should probably apply the same process then for the MariaDB. Do you agree?
Or has any opinion on this?
I agree. This sounds sensible.
We need to be careful throwing MariaDB in the same mix because as we start looking at the HA problem, we might have more changes to MariaDB coming and may even end up with some sort of, probably not Git branches, but I'd not completely rule it out at this point because we can at some point start supporting several versions of MariaDB somehow.
Do we really want to?
We absolutely hate that, but well,
I mean,
upgrades are complicated.
Cannot we, instead of just have something we test it with, but the user would be more responsible for deploying MariaDB in whatever configuration they like?
Well, Ironic standalone operator is responsible, so it's us. It's not the user.
Yeah, but should it be? This has also been discussed before. That are we do we actually need to take care of this kind of weird MariaDB image? Cannot we generalize it in a way that users could be supplying that, or then we could just have this single instance MariaDB, for example, if user doesn't want to take that responsibility?
We could find a suitable MariaDB image. I hope there's some sort of official blast image which we could just refer to. And we could make sure Ironic image is compatible with that, and then we could stop maintaining MariaDB image. Yeah, that's a fair call.
I'm pretty sure that there are MariaDB operators, for example.
Yeah, maybe we just pose a requirement.
Yeah, because it kind of doesn't make any sense to me that we are suddenly starting to maintain complicated HA versions of MariaDB or something ourselves when they are kind of actual products or projects focused on that.
That's a good point. I'm going to file a bug on Ironic standalone operator to reconsider our expectations around database until it's too late. Sorry, folks, it was a bit of tangent show discussion, but I think it's very useful tangent show discussion for this.
Yeah, this I agree, and this we have actually discussed before. That we should actually consider, do we want to or not? And if we do, then of course you are correct. We should actually, then we have some design choices ahead, and that affects also releasing. But yeah, I kind of feel that we are not supposed to implement this stuff. Do you probably know by heart that if the IRSO is, what does it actually require from MariaDB? Is it just that you point to some instance and it's happy?
Right now it has built-in support for MariaDB. If we're going to change that, we're probably going to remove the separate customer. There's a separate customer resource for that. We can drop it. I think we don't still consider the API 100% stable, so we can drop that and then add the possibility to link to a database from an Ironic object, kind of in its endpoint, IP port, TLS settings, and credentials secret. So basically 3 fields, I guess.
Maybe prefix as well, if same instances used by multiple?
Just database name, Ironic is using a single database.
Okay, that's the same. True.
Yeah, I'm going to create a bug with the draft idea, and I'll take you and you can continue drafting there.
Yeah,
cool.
Perfect.
Feel free to continue if you have something. I'm just writing these things down.
Yeah, so there seems to be a suggestion for this new version scheme.
Yeah, I'm fine with that actually. Year, month, I can go with that.
So maybe not just year, month. Do we need something else if we just happen to need release twice in a month?
I was thinking then year, month would be like the minor, like a major, minor, and then patch would be a number if we need to release. So it would have 3 components like somewhere, but year, month, and then number. So like,
or maybe just the day. I don't think we are going to release twice a day.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Yeah, that would be a fresh, clean start. I can go for that.
So then it would basically be a date. So 2024 dot like 02 dot I don't know 30. So it would be a regular date.
I love how you managed to whip out an impossible date as an example.
Yeah, sorry. That's a good example. I will keep it.
Easter egg for anyone actually reading the notes.
Yes. Okay, then I think we are aligned on this. So there are no objections with this versioning. It sounds good. Then I think we don't have any objections with the independent release. I think during previous discussion we already agreed that it's fine to release it. We all agree that it's very rarely released. And then should we take the lightweight release process? What was that? I missed that.
Lightweight in a sense that it doesn't have the release branches. So
okay.
And also it avoids the maintenance burden on the release branches. Then if we need some fixes, we just fix them on the main and call it a day. Because eventually this is just repackaging of a component. Yes. We are not actually making a code fixes, but just configuration fixes at most.
Okay with this.
Is that okay with everybody?
No objections.
Okay, and I think we agree on all points here. Dependent release, versioning, and lightweight release. Okay, I will just write mark these that agreed. Okay. Good. I think then we are done with that discussion. If there are no other comments related to this, or is there? Okay. If not, then next one is from Tomo. That's IRSO release process.
Yeah. So Dimitri was asking before the 0.20 release that if we should have the release process in place for IRSO and maybe create the branching and everything. So I think we ended up after 1.0.0.10 that for now it is still too early to branch, but I think did we somehow miscommunicate or misunderstand that? Because it seems that you kind of expected to have a branch at this point.
I mean, no, not necessarily. I was just really checking if people want it. I guess a possible way we can look at that is when we see actual humans using Ironix and non-operator in actual productions. It's probably going to be a good sign that we need to start branching it. The only point which worries me a bit is, so when we keep releasing from main branch, the default Ironic version is latest, which is not something people should be using in production really. So the plan was once we start branching, for example, in preparation for 0.3, we create a release 0.3, and on this branch we change the default version to say 28.1 or whatever Ironic version there will be. And we release that as 0.3 defaulting to 28.1 Ironic, and that will be more production friendly because people won't accidentally install latest. Not sure how much of a concern it is, especially since nobody probably uses it in production yet. Yeah, seeking opinions.
So you are proposing pretty much the same thing as we do with the Ironic image. So it is currently rolling off main, but when we do the branch, we log it to a Ironic branch. Then
Yeah, precisely.
yeah, I don't see that as a big issue. If someone is using it, they should probably be defining the version anyways, paying the attention to that. I'm maybe more concerned about, again, on the maturity of the iron cooperation and the level of kind of big changes we are still doing. That if we do a branch now, we need to maintain very different, possibly very different versions of ERS or implementations of it, which I don't think is very productive at this stage.
True, yeah, especially if you're going to kick out Ironic database resource and the HA work is probably going to take a lot of time. Yeah, I don't object to that actually.
MariaDB and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I've
maybe we need to kind of figure out some sort of target that when we consider it stable enough that we can maintain the release branches. I'm still a bit uneducated maybe on the final goal of the year, so that what all we have planned for that, how much we are actually off from the end game, so to speak.
That's a good question. My personal desire is for it to replace all other ways to install Ironic for Metal3. We're definitely not quite there. By the time we start seriously talking about replacing deploy SH or whatever we use right now in integration jobs, we probably need branches at that point because integration jobs are going to run on branches of, I don't know, BMO, Ironic image and stuff. So could make sense have Ironic standalone operator also branched there. Yeah, I'm curious how other people see that.
For me, the main thing was that it will provide HE eventually, but I have not spent much time thinking what else could we also include there. I have a lot of ideas about what we can open up in BMO for Ironic to use all the features of Ironic, but on configuration level, I don't really have any other newer features or scopes yet in mind.
Yeah, maybe it would be a good idea to draft some sort of roadmap that we can agree on, that what's good enough for branching. I mean, we can probably all just think about the big list of nice to haves, and it would go on forever, but I guess we need to draw the line somewhere.
One cool thing that would be nice if we would have some nice way of loading a backed up database of an HA or a non-HA Ironic from the past, and then rebuilding based on that. So in a fresh deployment, where you have nothing, like zero prior information, but we would be able to specify it in a secret or something, a existing database file, and we would back that up. That would be very useful in multiple different cases. I don't know if that's something feature-wise that you would think as a realistic thing that we can add to the scope.
I mean, we should have these kind of ideas in issues so we can actually
Certainly
triage them.
Yeah.
But this is exactly what I mean, that we have probably plenty of this kind of stuff that it would be nice to have, but what's actually going to be kind of in the first, I don't know, stable, but the stable years release, then
I think we will continue that either continuously or separately on the Slack or somehow when we are a bit less swamped.
yeah. But I guess the answer to the original question is that we can still continue with this tag on the main release in 4 years or for now.
Fine by me.
Do you agree, Dimitri?
Yep.
Great.
Okay. Read-only file system discussion. We already discussed it. There were quite good points, key points that how quickly should we move this to be a default, and different pain points were pointed out. I am working on this, and from my perspective, it seems that it will work with one attached volume. I would like to have it using one volume, extra volume, or not necessarily volume, but like it could be empty there, whatever could bet the volume, but one mount, and it seems that all the tools, HTTPD and the probes and everything could work. I actually rewrote the probes in a way that they don't require template rendering. Just run same way, but we don't need to generate files. And other than that, other services like DNS mask and HTTPD and Ironic and all these seem to work nicely if we just point out for them that there is your config file in this location. They pick it up nicely. So that seems to work. Also keep alive, the changes are already up in that PR that I linked. And I plan to push this tomorrow as a PR, and yeah, we can then continue the discussion on the PRs. Yeah, so for me, the only thing is really the rollout. That's one question. That then, how would you like to have it rolled out? Because now I'm writing it as if you provide the custom config path, like a root directory config path or a root directory path, then it enables the feature. If you don't, it won't. It would not. And then the other thing is something that I have not investigated yet, but was told by folks who did some workarounds with this, is that we are doing something in these two, this warlib ironic and in the libpython, and I don't know what writes there. Like that's as I assume does not come from our image customization scripts, rather how ironic works. So I have these two questions basically. And I'm fine if we can come to the conclusion that we would like this to be the next default behavior. I'm completely fine with that. I'm willing to write the BM overlays and maybe finally contribute something to IRSO. It's all good in my opinion.
I mean, I think the question about the default is kind of irrelevant here, because the how it is implemented should be so that it doesn't care if it's a mount or not. So basically, it just has to have an empty directory. It doesn't care if it's on the file system and the file system is still writable or it's a mount.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So in a sense, ironic image-wise, it should be always doing the same thing. It's just up to the manifest then if it's mounting the stuff and setting the read-only.
Yeah,
I think
sure.
that's the only sensible approach to this.
Yeah, that's true. In current test implementation I'm doing, it's still configurable, but I can make like a subdirectory somewhere and make that the fixed location under somewhere in the root or under etc. Where would that be more sensible? Like under the etc somewhere, like under etc ironic conf, or would that be better in, because right now I'm testing it that it's mounted to the root under /conf. So same as we mount out and shared, just there is a third one called conf.
Yeah, if we go with one mount, then I think the /config or something is fine. If we do multiple, then of course they need to be where the files are expected to be found. But I don't want to see like random conf directory under etc where it is actually hidden. So
yeah, okay.
If we go with one, let's put it on the root.
Yeah, that's fine for me. The only strong opinion I have, I really would like to have it as one mount. That I feel is easier for the users if they deploy ironic as a pod, if they use the ISO, IRSO, like whatever ways it's used, it's always easier to maintain, in my opinion, if we have one month, one extra month. We already have 3 with this. We have the out, the shared, and this one, so it's already quite a lot of mounts.
Yeah, they can anyway split it up if they want. It's fine to create it as one, but it's also common that you do sub volumes under if you want to, for some reason. Like maybe you want to mount something from a config map, then you have that as a sub volume, and then you mount something else from a secret, and then you have a third from a PVC. You can mix and match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's problematic in the sense that we need to point the command lines to those config files. So if they can be elsewhere than like a known position, then it's again more and more configuration and environment variables.
Yes,
I'm not saying I'm not saying make it configurable. I just say put it in one. Users will be able to change this however they want. You just take the manifest and you change it how you want.
Yeah, they can change the mounts, but if we have, for example, DNS mask command line saying that bin DNS mask dash config some file name, then that's not going to change how they mount it if it's on like a config top level.
Yeah, I'm not sure I follow. Like usually
I mean,
you can.
if the generated config file is like /config dnsmask.conf,
Yeah.
how do you partially mount that?
I mean, if you have multiple things in /conf,
Yes,
right?
I do.
Yeah, then each one of those can be a separate mount if you want. That's all I'm saying, that if someone for some reason want to have them separate, they can do that, even though we have everything in one folder.
And
not exactly sure I'm following you now, but that's irrelevant.
Yeah, it's irrelevant. Just put it in one place, Adam, and I guarantee if people need to split it, they will be able to.
Okay. So then my questions, we discussed my preference for the mounts. We discussed other technical details related to this. So the last thing that I don't know, it's the default. Was the default discussion. So I don't know if there are like, well, what are the preferences? If I should leave this config as a config option now, or instantly push the PR as something that would change the behavior for everyone. I'm a bit afraid to do that, to be honest. But we have now releasing in Ironic Image, so we can just say that from next release onward, you have to use this mount. So
No, that's the whole point. You don't need to. So
yeah, sure. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, you don't need to.
Yeah, there will be in the init script there will be this mkdir config, and if it already exists as a mount, then so be it. If it doesn't, it's created, and nobody needs to care beyond that. It works the same.
Yeah, okay. I get it. And then, okay, so we don't have the default problem anymore. We are fine with the one mount. Only thing left to clear out for me is what is the significance of this two location? This user locally Python and varlib ironic. What writes there to the disk?
I'm not super sure, but I think the varlib ironic, isn't that where the database is, or the SQLite is sometimes written, or some other state file?
Yes, that's correct. And there are some states files there. For user locally Python, yeah, that's tricky.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's just writing the byte compile version of some libraries it's using or something like that.
Well,
like these PyO files or.
One thing that we could consider, and actually I've tested that recently because of like reasons. Maybe using a virtual env would help, because we would avoid having libraries writing there. I'm not sure if it will completely remove the I mean the issue, but it may help.
But again, even with the virtual env, since we have to install that during the build time, I'm not sure if we can somehow relocate that safely to this config then.
No, yeah.
So I'm just, without looking at it more, I'm just thinking that maybe there is something that like we can run the Python code so that it actually then does all the Python compilation, if it's about that, during the build time.
The problem is that if you do that, you risk to have issues if you have any kind of security mechanism, like FIPS, for instance. I don't know if I made it myself clear with that, but I'm talking by experience. That's the point. We had a lot of issues with that.
Okay, so they hate if you ship the by compiled versions.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, okay, that makes also sense. I can also maybe vaguely remember that Python might have option to not write these objects to the disk at all, which makes it a bit slower because it has to recompile them every time, but
Yeah,
not sure how much of a performance hit that would be.
That was actually not taken into consideration, as far as I remember. I'm talking about like our downstream thing. So because of lack of performance, but also some other issue that I don't remember exactly now, but there was some other problem with that, not only performance.
Damn, you're good debunking my suggestions. But yeah, something along these lines we need to do. I'm not sure if we can otherwise really fix this.
Yeah, because in discussions with stakeholders, they were like, just drop it out to the to the mountain. We were like, yeah, but what if it's executable, shared library? Like, and I actually moved the probes in that for that reason, because I was looking at them and I'm like, I don't like having executables on a mount and stuff like that. So,
And does it actually, if you do empty there, is that no exec by default?
Yes, it is. I actually ran into that.
So that also prevents that.
Yeah, and of course, mtdir could be also backed up by memory or whatever, but it doesn't really matter because user can back it up by anything, and then they can also mess up the security of whatever is the background or the
Now that you said that user can back it with anything, is of course they can change the manifest as they like, but do we now also need to consider the possibility that they actually mount it with something that is not cleared when the pod is recreated, because like it's not ephemeral anymore, because currently when the files are written to the image, they get lost if we restart, as they should. Same with the empty data. But if they now happen to back it with something persistent,
not at the moment. I have not seen. It would have been the case with the probes, but or one solution I had for the probes, but then I used another one, and now everything is rewritten, and the directories are recreated, and these are all render outputs. So the Ginger rendering would override them, and the template files.
Yeah, but I mean, for example, this user local bin Python, you're not actively yourself writing the stuff there. So
Oh yeah,
if
and
it's
that's
persistent, there might be all sorts of stuff there.
yeah. That I might need to clear. That's a good point. That this lib things, because the template files and this sort of configs are not that complicated to clean. But yeah, this might have to be nuked every time or checked if it's there. This lib.
Yeah, of course we need to document it that it is supposed to be ephemeral. Yeah, but something to consider.
So what's kind of the conclusion on these libs? Is it safe to put them on a mount, or
We don't know.
I don't know.
We don't know. We need to investigate that what's actually there, and is it any of these things that we assumed. We need some facts.
Yeah, okay. I will look into that library and look around and see what goes on. I soon reached that in my tests, that lib I was now fixing.
Yeah, but it seems that Ricardo has faced these issues before, so he's a good source of information when you find out what's actually happening there.
I will just take the notes.
And also, since this Python thing is not the config, should we consider making that a separate mount?
This lib.
Yeah, because it's
good.
not config. It's
Then we would have 4. Yeah, but I'm fine with it sounds justified for me if it's a work directory for the ironic. I don't know. Then should the database and this live there? Like the lib and the database.
Or their state files and then the Python stuff. Maybe they can go in the second mount.
Okay, that sounds logical. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the only thing that left for me to kind of discover is what is actually happening in that lib. Otherwise, everything is clear. Okay. So from my point of view, it's done. Like I don't think there is anything unclear left, and I will probably, if it's okay with you, I would ping you, Ricardo. Oh, he left, but yeah, I would ping him.
Yep. I will review the TPR then.
Yeah, and then there was one. That's only 2 of us left. So there was this one from Leonard, this Metal3 multi-tenancy. So please, everyone, take a look. He updated it based on the MTM discussions. I guess it's just to notify the community.
Yeah, we can also push it to next week.
Yeah. And I just quickly wanted to check the ironic image and the ERSO if they have received the 20. Yeah. It would need a 30 milestone, and then probably the ERSO would need one other.
I mean that no, it doesn't need a new one. It has the 29 already.
Yeah, but
sorry,
we have
it does need. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Yep. There is. And then I will put that on. I don't think we had anything else for the others. I have not heard any issues.
Can you check the ERSO as well?
Yeah,
because it just had a release. It probably also needs.
Yep.
Yeah, milestone.
Oh, I always forget. Okay. I think that's fine. I don't need to check the others. He was checking them before. Okay, so we are 5 minutes over anyway, so I guess that's the end of it, unless you have some other comment or...
No, that's all.
Okay, then thanks for being here until the end, and thank you for everyone who joined, and let's meet next week, same time, and until then, have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye. Thanks, Adam.